What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ninetale17 here, back again with another video, or if you want to call me Deadpool, that's cool too. Today we're going to be talking about Iron Fist, the Netflix series that was less than loved by the general public, but I'm here to tell you that it is definitely not as bad as what people think it is. Little background: it features the main character, Danny Rand. He is playing Crash when he was a kid, and he was discovered by monks, and the monks trained him in the ways of kung fu and trained him to be the Iron Fist, a warrior, so to speak, that sole job is to guard the gate of Kunlun and to destroy the hand. Now, that in itself to me is an issue, because it seemed like when he said that, I was like, okay, well, which one is it? Are you guarding the gate to Kunlun, or are you destroying the hand? Because in order to guard the gate, you have to stay at the gate, or in the general vicinity. In order to destroy the hand, you have to leave the gate and go destroy the hand. So it was little things like that that kind of threw me off. The guy who played Ward and Joy kind of was a hit or miss for me. Sometimes it seemed like she was trying a little bit too hard. Ward, I liked his character. I definitely like his growth. They seem to show him growing and his little character development here and there. I honestly thought Ward was going to end up being the bad guy, or one of the bad guys, kind of like how Cottonmouth was in Luke Cage. Like, Cottonmouth was the bad guy, but then there's a bigger bad guy, and Cottonmouth died. That's what I thought was going to be Ward, but it didn't end up being Ward. So that being said, I liked Ward. I definitely liked him. I liked Harold Meacham. He was a great actor. All the actors did a pretty decent job. We had Claire Temple. She's back in this series doing what she does best, patching up the heroes. But the show overall, to me, it seemed like it had trouble finding its pacing at certain points. It seemed like, because there was some parts I was confused, one of them being what I just mentioned about the gates of Kunlun and him beating the hand. Another was Danny seemed like he was almost too confused on certain goals or what he wanted to do. It definitely seemed like his powers were kind of inconsistent. Like, it was sometimes when, like, even in the beginning, before they mentioned that he could recharge his chi to use his fist, even in the beginning before he knew that, it seemed like, I don't know, it's weird. It seemed like he would use his fists and then he wouldn't. And I'm sorry to say, but if I had that kind of ability to use my fist in a fight whenever I wanted to, I would be using it consistently and frequently. It seemed like he wasn't doing that. It came to a point at the end, the last episode, when he used this, I don't know what you want to call it, but it was like a ground pound kind of attack, and it blew like the whole floor of Rand Enterprises. And I'm in my head, I'm like, where was this power before? Like, I'm not understanding. And when he finally fought Harold on top of the roof, it seemed like it seemed like he was getting his ass handed to him at certain times. And I'm like, well, you were in a tournament against the hand where you came out victorious, and you were fighting people way more skilled than Harold was. But Harold somehow basically knocked you out. So I'm not exactly sure. Danny definitely, his character definitely seemed to complain a lot. Like, he seemed to have a lot of self-pity. And it got kind of annoying after a while. I don't know much about the comic book iteration of Danny Rand, so correct me, please. Is that how he is in the comics? I'm pretty sure it's not, but just let me know if that's how Danny is in the comics. Does he have a lot of self-pity for himself? Does he complain a lot and just seems like he whines? So that's the one issue I had. The girl that played Colleen Wing, she's a warrior trained in Bushido, very skilled fighter. I want to call her Danny Rand's sidekick, but she's actually also his love interest of the show. I love her actress, and I love the actress that played Colleen Wing. I think I might even have a little crush on Colleen Wing. She is gorgeous, and she's badass. That's awesome. But it was certain times when she did kind of, I don't know, the whole cage fighting thing, they didn't expand on that. when she fought in the cage, it seemed like they were gonna go back into like a kind of a backstory on where her anger comes from. I don't personally remember anything of them doing that or anything like that. So that kind of was a confusion to me. I mean, the cage fight was one of the highlights of the series. I know that's sad to say, but it was. But her releasing all this aggression on these cage fighters, and she broke a pinky, and they didn't really explain why. I mean, Madame Gao kind of talked about her grandfather, so I'm assuming that has something to do with her grandfather raising her to be this warrior. Maybe, I'm not sure, but it seemed like it was a like a missed opportunity, because I was interested in that. I was interested in knowing why she's so angry. But overall, it was nice. Harold, apparently, the moment when Harold died, Ward stabbed Harold. Okay, the moment when he died, it was one of the highlights of the series. It was a high point of the series. It was one of the high points of the series. When he came back, it definitely caught me off guard, because I thought it was one of those Cottonmouth situations where maybe, you know, I always knew Harold was going to be the bad guy, but I didn't know if he was going to be the lasting bad guy. Like, I didn't know if he was going to die and then Ward was going to take his place, because they started going into Ward's drug abuse, which kind of seemed like it was like I don't want to say like a cop-out, but it was like he was addicted to drugs and then he wasn't. Like, Bakuto introduced him to this serum that helped him get over his withdrawal symptoms, but we never got any more explanation on it. Like, it was strange. But regardless, when he came back, it was the fear in his voice, just the pure evil that you can hear in his voice was amazing. It was an amazing effort on the actors' part, both actors. And you could see the fear and just the sheer terror in Ward's eyes when he saw his father. And when Harold killed Kyle, that was sad, because Kyle was a genuinely good dude. Like, he was a good guy. But it was just sad. Like, it was sad when Kyle died. We got a very good, kind of like a more of a thorough introduction to the Hand. We got a really nice tidbit of the Hand in Daredevil. Not a lot in, we really didn't get anything in Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. But Daredevil season 1 and 2, we got some really good introduction into the Hand, and Iron Fist is no stranger to that. Iron Fist delves deeper into the Hand. We get more Madame Gao. I love the actress from Madame Gao. Madame Gao, to me, is probably the best actress on the show. But I love her act. She's just this frail, cute old lady, but then she's this crazy warrior. Like, I think even in Daredevil, she fought Matt Murdock and handed him his ass. So I really like that. That was another high point of me. So let's go over some of the cons. Some of the cons of the show. I'll name the bad things first. The cons: Danny Rand seemed like he complained a lot. Seemed like he had a lot of self-pity, a lot of anger issues. Whereas the warriors that he was raised to be, they kept saying how him and Davos were trained to. Davos even did it in front of Claire. He centered himself. He said it. So I was confused on why Danny, who has more of a responsibility than Davos, didn't center himself as frequently as Davos did. So that's one con. Another con, Joy. Like I said, Joy to me was I don't think she was that important. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Another con, the martial arts. Okay, so for a show that's centered around martial arts, the fight scenes and the choreography was very lacking. It seemed like, and it was some things that I noticed. There's one part where he hit a guy, but then the guy didn't react for like another 2 seconds. It was weird. And it's strange because Luke Cage had better fight scenes than Iron Fist. And Luke Cage is really not centered around finesse. It's not centered around kung fu or martial arts like Iron Fist or Daredevil is. Daredevil had really good fight scenes. And someone tell me in the comment section, where was the hallway fight scene? Because every Netflix show has a hallway fight scene. I must have missed it because maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But I didn't notice the hallway fight scene. It was a couple of hallway fight scenes, so I'm not sure. But the combat and the choreography was a little odd at times. I will admit that. Danny's powers were inconsistent. Okay, Okay, that to me that was kind of a hit or miss. Honestly, that might have been it. The soundtrack was good. Definitely not as good as Luke Cage, but the soundtrack was nice. So the pros of the series. Madame Gao. I love Madame Gao. Great villain, great antagonist. I liked Colleen Wing. She was a badass. I love Colleen Wing. Um, Ward. Gotta love Ward. Gotta love Harold Meacham. Gotta love the Meachams in general, with maybe the exception of Joy. When Danny did use his power, his fist, it was amazing. It was good. The things he could do, healing and centering his chi and or focusing his chi and everything like that, it was good. It was really nice. The tournament was a nice touch. I liked the tournament with the hand. It really kind of showcased Danny's true motivations and his heroism. So that was really nice. And I really want to say that another pro, kind of a pro, they mentioned the dragon. Okay, in the comics, I do know that Danny punched a dragon in the heart, and that's one of the ways he became the Iron Fist. But they did mention the dragon. The dragon is, they didn't show him. They showed red eyes. They didn't show the dragon itself. But they did mention the dragon from Coma. So, I mean, other than that, it was good. The last fight scene was kind of lacking. It wasn't really that great between him and Harold. I feel like it could have been better. Like all the other Netflix shows had really good last fights, like boss fights, if you will. Like Daredevil, he had a really good boss fight. Jessica Jones went up against the Purple Man. Luke Cage went up against his brother, and his brother had on the crazy suit. So they had nice ending fight scenes. Iron Fist, not so much. I think it would have been better if maybe Danny fought Madame Gao. That would have been nice because obviously she's a badass. So that'd be cool. But regardless, let me know what you guys thought of Iron Fist.